Hello, everyone. Time for the Premier League predictions. In this one, I will be going through which teams I think will finish in the top four, which teams I think will get relegated, and basically the entire table, and also the top goal scorers, the most assists, who will be the player of the season, manager of the season. As always, comment down below who you think will be the champions, which team will finish in the top four, and which teams will get relegated, and which players do you think will have the best seasons. I'm going to be non-biased, like I'm not going to be biased at all in this one. Last season I predicted Arsenal to finish fifth, so I'm not biased at all in this one. So we will be using the tier list. So first we're going to go through 18th to 20th, or 20th to 18th, and then 13th to 17th, 9th to 12th, 5th to 8th, 2nd to 4th, and then which team will finish as the Premier League champion. So let's get started. So first up is number 20, and I'm going to go for this, guys. I'm going to go for Nottingham Forest to finish bottom of the table. Now, they have signed a couple of good players. Dean Henderson, the goalkeeper. They've brought in Jesse Lingard. And I can actually see Nottingham Forest beating a couple of teams. Last season, they beat Leicester, they beat Arsenal. There's another season where they beat Arsenal in the FA Cup. So they're able to beat these big teams. I can actually see them, out of all the games they're going to play against the top six teams, the 12 games they're going to play against the top six teams, I can even see them winning at least 3 of them. I'd not be surprised if they go to Old Trafford and win against Man United, or come to Arsenal, frustrate us. We go to their place, they beat us. They go to Tottenham and win. I'd not be surprised if they can pick up at least 3 wins against the top teams. I can see that happening, but I don't think the quality of their squad is enough. I know the likes of Brian Johnson are good, but enough for the Premier League? I don't think so. They'll have patches where they win a couple of tough games, and then how consistent will that be? I don't think they'll be consistent at all in the Premier League. So I can see them struggling, especially away from home. I can see them struggling a lot. So Nottingham Forest to finish bottom of the table for me. Sorry to the Nottingham Forest fans. Which team will finish 19th? So I've gone for another promoted team. Unfortunately, I've gone for Bournemouth. I actually think last time when they're in the Premier League, they had a better team than they have right now, when they had the likes of Nathan Ake, Callum Wilson, Josh King, Ryan Fraser. Back then, they had a very, very good players. They even had a very good manager in Eddie Howe. Scott Parker is okay, but this season, taking a look at the signings they've made, is it really enough Premier League quality? I don't think so. Another thing I actually forgot to point out about Nottingham Forest before I talk about Bournemouth, they've signed way too many players, and whenever teams sign so many players like that, it never works out. You rather even just keep the players who you're coming with from the Premier League. So Bournemouth have signed Ryan Fredericks from West Ham, and another 2 players, one from Blackburn, one from Middlesbrough. They've gotten rid of a couple of experienced players like Gary Cahill, but I cannot see them surviving the league. It's going to be very tough. They're facing Man City in the second game, and they're facing Arsenal in the third game. So after 5 games, we'll get a clear picture of who they are. If they go and give Man City a tough game and and give Arsenal a tough game as well, then we'll know they're ready for the Premier League. But I'm not saying like Man City against Bournemouth will defy their season, but if they go and lose 10-0 and then play against Arsenal and lose 6-0, then we'll know they'll struggle. But if they actually give a lot of effort in those games and win the games they're supposed to win, they might survive. But the other teams have kind of strengthened, and I think the other teams have better managers, the likes of Newcastle and all those teams. So I'm thinking Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest will go straight back down. What about 18th in the Premier League? A lot of people have gone for Fulham, Southampton. I'm not going for Fulham. I'm actually going for Fulham to survive once and for all. Finally, they will survive a Premier League season. 18th for me, I've gone for a surprise. It might be a surprise for you guys. Brentford, second season syndrome. Teams usually get relegated in the second campaign, as the likes of Huddersfield and the likes of Sheffield United recently getting relegated in the second season. I can see that happening to Brentford, unfortunately, losing Christian Eriksen. Yes, they're about to sign another of the Danish players, but I can't see it being enough. They've also added their Ben Mee, good experience, good defender, but he was injured for Burnley last season. But I cannot see them surviving the second season. Last season, they did very well. They got a couple of results at home, but second season, I can see a bit of a fairy tale coming to an end. This time, when they play the bigger teams, I expect them to be whipped around. So I'm going to go for Brentford to get relegated. Not get relegated to like 19, 18 points. No, they'll actually pick up even 10 wins, but it won't be enough for them to survive. And they'll probably go down by 1 point to something. 17th, I've gone for Fulham. I've gone for Fulham to finish 17th this time round. I'm thinking with the likes of Mitrovic. I know they've gotten rid of Cavalli and all those players, but I can see Mitrovic having a good season this time round, and finally they'll survive a season. Eventually they'll survive a season. You cannot just keep going up and down and up and down and up and down. I think this is the season that Fulham survive. They've added a couple of players from Sporting. They've added Andres Pereira from Man United. They brought in Bernd Leno, a good goalkeeper from Arsenal. So with that quality being added to their team, experience from the top 6 clubs, I can see that adding to the likes of Mitrovic and the rest of the quality players that they have. They were scoring a lot of goals last season. Like every time I watched a Fulham game, it was 7-0, 6-0. They were scoring a bunch of goals, scored more than 100 goals. I think that will help them. I think they won't be dry in terms of scoring goals. I think they'll get a few goals. I think they'll get more goals than the likes of Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth. So I'm going for Fulham to finish 17th and survive finally. 16th, I am going to go for Brighton. Cucurella is about to leave, and they've gotten rid of a couple of players. I think this is the season they'll struggle again this season, just because I don't think they are very. I know they've signed a striker, but I don't see them scoring enough goals. There's a very good team there. There's a very good coach there, but every single season when you expect them, they always start the season fourth, third in the table, win the first 5 games, and then you think this is the season that Brighton are going to do well. But unfortunately, 3 signings this season, I don't think it's enough at all. Departures, as we said, Bissouma left. You're expecting Cucurella to leave very soon for either Chelsea or Man City. I think that is a hit for them. Those are two very good players for them. And yes, they'll always win a couple of games at their place at the Amex Stadium. They'll probably beat a couple of big teams as well, like they always do. They won't get relegated or anything, but I can see them finishing mid-table around 16th. They'll probably be, I can't see them like being 20th and then winning the last 5 games and finishing 16th. No, I can actually see them being mid-table 11th, 12th, and then at the end of the season losing 3 or 4 games and then dropping down to 16th. That's how I'm seeing it. So Brighton 16th on the table. 15th is going to be Everton. Usually we start the season saying Everton is going to finish 5th, 6th, but these days, I don't see it being the same. Yes, they've added a couple of quality players like Dwight McNeil from Burnley, who scored a couple of goals on his debut, looked very good. James Tarkowski is going to help them a lot defensively. The likes of Michael Keane and Holgate are not convincing at all. But they've lost Richarlison. They've lost one of the main attackers from last season, and Calvert-Lewin, if he can't stay fit, that will be a worry for them. Dele Alli has not really been the answer for me. Yes, he's scored a couple of goals in preseason, but has never really been the answer. I think Frank Lampard, I don't think Frank Lampard is a genius set in the Premier League. I actually thought if you would get sacked last season, if they got relegated, you'd probably go down to, if not with Everton, if they have survived, maybe I thought they would sack him and for him to go to the Championship to start developing again. The other managers like Mikel Arteta were assistant managers for a lot of years under Guardiola, so that's why you feel like they can be managers. Steven Gerrard went and worked in a couple of teams as well in Scotland and all that before coming to the Premier League. Lampard was in Derby for a few years, and then all of a sudden Chelsea, Everton in the Premier League, big teams. So I don't think it's going to work out for him. I think they're going to finish 15th this time round. It's not going to be as bad as last season. Last season they were so close to get relegated. They were so lucky. 14th on the table, I have gone for Leeds United. They've gotten rid of a couple of very good players. Calvin Phillips was a very good player in midfield for them, and obviously Rafinha. But they've actually brought in some really quality players. Aronson from Salzburg. They've brought in Tyler Adams from Leipzig, all 20 million plus. They've brought in Sinestra from Feyenoord. So a couple of good signings. The thing that Leeds have is goals. They will score goals. I'm convinced they will score goals, especially if Bamford can remain fit, and then all these players can adapt. The likes of Roca and Parkins, and try and keep a couple of clean sheets in their team. Clean sheets wise though, I can't see it. I can see it being just like Leeds the last 2 seasons, a lot of 4-3s, 3-2s, entertaining games. So Leeds to finish mid-table, not struggle like the likes of Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth, no, but they'll finish 14th on the table. 13th, I have gone for Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace is always a mid-table team. They always finish somewhere between 10th and 13th, but I think the teams that have put above them are slightly better. This season, we are going to actually play them in the first game of the season. As Arsenal fans, we'll definitely see. I mean, I've predicted them to finish 13th, and then they start the first game of the season and whip Arsenal by 10 goals to nil. It would be sad. But they've brought in a goalkeeper from West Brom, Sam Johnston, and then the rest of the players from Derby, from Lens, from Bayern Munich, Chris Richards. But departure-wise, they've gotten rid of other players. They've not really gotten rid of a player who was playing a lot last season, so they've kept their team consistent, and that's why I think they're going to not struggle this season, as they will be fit. Olise is there, Zaha is there. He's very loyal to his team. Gay is scoring goals from the back, so I think they'll be okay. They'll be around 45 points, between 40 and 45 points. They won't struggle at all. We won't see them at bottom of the table or anything, no. But they'll be around 10th and 13th. So those are the teams that are going to finish between 13th and 17th. Which team is going to finish in the next category between 9th and 12th? So for 12th, I have gone for, surprisingly, Leicester City. I was thinking about putting them lower because they've literally not signed any player, but they've not really gotten rid of players at all. But the likes of Maddison and Fofana and Tielemans could end up leaving. But if they end up staying, for example, and they have the likes of Daka, Barnes, they won't have a problem. Even though they've not signed up a couple of players, they still have quality there to beat most of the teams, especially the Bournemouth, the Nottingham Forest, their rivals, Brentford, the likes of Leeds. Leicester have that quality, and obviously you always see them beating the top teams sometimes. Arsenal sometimes, Chelsea sometimes. They can pull up to a result from nowhere and score 5 goals at Man City like they did 2 seasons ago. So I'm going to go for them at 12, but I can't see them challenging for European football at all. They probably needed signings. Obviously, they could still make that between now and the end of the month. But for now, we are going to put them in 12th. 11th, I have gone for the money guys, the money men, the money machine, Newcastle United. They've added a very good goalkeeper right from the bat. Nick Pope is going to help them a lot. Like, I think he's way better than Dalot, and Dubravka he wasn't supposed to be relegated last season. Like, you wouldn't know he played for Burnley. The kind of saves he was making, Burnley would have gotten relegated long before they even got relegated on the final day. So in terms of new signings, Newcastle have brought in the likes of apart from Pope, they've brought in Botman from Lille for 35 million, and I still expect them to bring a lot of players like Maddison. So they will be in and around 10th and 11th. They probably will finish on the same points with 10th. So they'll be around 10th and 11th. But I've put them in 11th, and that is because I have gone for Wolves in 10th place. Wolves last season kept a lot of clean sheets at the beginning of the season. They were not struggling at all defensively. They were doing so well. And this season, Adama Traore is back. They've signed Hee Chang Wang on a permanent deal. Nathan Collins from Burnley, the defender. They've gotten rid of backup goalkeeper Roman Saiz left as well. Vinagre left as well. Fabio Silva, to be honest, he wasn't really helping them at all. Jimenez is injured for the first couple of games, if I'm not wrong. But Neto has been on form during preseason. And clean sheets wise, I can still see them keeping clean sheets to Joseph Sarr, Willy Bolly, and Connor Cody. You can still see them keeping a couple of clean sheets here and there, even though they've gotten rid of a lot of defenders in the likes of Marcel and all those guys and size. But no problem for Wolves. They'll still be mid-table 10th position. Unfortunately, no European football for them. In 9th, I've gone for the team that people have said could be relegated, Southampton. I cannot see Southampton getting relegated. I've tried to figure out why people are putting them to get relegated. I just can't see it. They've not really gotten rid of any of the top players. Yes, Fraser Foster left and Shane Long left, but those weren't players who are always playing. Ward-Prowse, we know the quality. Shea Adams is scoring goals. Adam Armstrong, probably in the second season. Adam Armstrong? Armstrong and the other Armstrong. You know, there are two Armstrongs, right? The one who was signed last season alongside Adam Armstrong. I've forgotten his name, but those guys, alongside the likes of Oriol Romeo. I usually see them as Premier League quality, and I can't see them struggling at all. Southampton is a team that they can pick up a result anywhere. Away to Chelsea, away to Tottenham, away to Arsenal. They can go away to United and get points, just like last season. They got a point at United. I think they won at Tottenham. At home, they do struggle sometimes, but this season I can see them improving. They have a very good coach as well, so I'm going to go for them finishing in ninth. Very high. I saw someone putting them in 18th and I was like, 18th? That is crazy. So I've gone for Southampton to finish in that position. Next up, I am going to go with West Ham. I'm going to go for West Ham in the next position. That is 8th. 5th to 8th, West Ham will finish 8th this time round. They've added Skamaka, the striker. Antonio still there. Bowen, I think, will still stay. They still have the quality, but I think it's going to still be a bit too much to qualify for Europe. They will be in and around, though. They will be in and around 5th and 8th until the end of the season, and then probably just a bit drift off at the end. Drift off a bit at the end. So West Ham to finish 8th this season. The next position is 7th. I've gone for Aston Villa to finish 7th this time round. The Coutinho has been signed on a permanent deal. They've kept the likes of Watkins, Ings. I can expect him to have a very good second season. They've gotten rid of players who aren't really helping, the likes of Trezeguet and all those guys. But I think they have a very, very quality team. Diego Carlos has been signed from Sevilla. The likes of Simpson has been signed from Hearts. Boubacar Kamara from Marseille. They still have the players like Douglas Luiz, McGinn, who I really, really like. I would have taken at Arsenal. So I think they'll actually have a good season. And I've gone for Gerrard to have a big season this time around, 7th position. Now to the top 6, 1st, 5th, and 6th. This is hard. As I said, I'm not being biased. Last season I said Arsenal is going to finish 5th. So this time around, I am going to go for Man United to finish 6th. Sorry to Man United fans. Yes, they've signed Lisandro Martinez, who's going to probably help more than Maguire, but I think Maguire is still going to start, and that is something that fans don't like at Man United. Ronaldo's drama at the moment, I don't think it helps the situation. Him leaving the team at halftime the other day against rival, like, and all this stuff. And if they depend on Martial to get the goals next season, I don't think they'll do that well. Martial is not Ronaldo. He's not going to score hat-tricks every single game. That is not going to happen. Defensively, I can see them improving. It's like Lisandro Martinez. They probably won't concede the 5-6 goals they're conceding against the likes of Liverpool. This time around, it will be a bit fair and a bit respectable. But attacking-wise, I don't see where they've improved. Yes, they brought back the likes of Donny van der Beek, but from what I've seen from their fans' comments is they're not happy with the performances so far. Martial has been okay for them and Sancho in pre-season, but let's not forget they've gotten rid of a lot of players, quality players. Pogba, Nemanja Matic in midfield. They now have McTominay and Fred to depend on if they don't sign anyone there. Cavani, 2 seasons ago, is getting goals for them. If Ronaldo leaves as well, Maguire is still their captain. I can see him starting games. Telles has left as well. I'm going to go for Man United to finish 6th. It's still going to be tight. I actually think last season 5th and 6th, there's a huge difference between us and them. This season I can see it being like 3-4 points, going to be closer. 5th position, you guessed it. I went for Tottenham in 5th. I still see them finishing ahead of United. It's going to be Arsenal, Man United, and Tottenham again, battling out for top 4 alongside Chelsea. But I think it depends on, obviously the transfer window is not closed. We still have to wait and see which players are signed during the transfer window. And I think the World Cup will have a big effect this time round. Teams like Man United will have all those guys going, Fred, and if Ronaldo stays, he'll be going. Probably Sancho could be going as well. Arsenal as well will probably take effect. So it depends on who has the biggest squad and who. I actually think teams that don't have that many players going will probably have it easier because the players won't be that tired, but you might say the ones that are going to the World Cup will be fitter. So I've gone for Tottenham to finish in 5th. They'll also have the Champions League to deal with, a lot of quality teams there, so it's not going to be easy to play against Bayern Munich in midweek, and then weekend to play against Chelsea, and they also have a tough start. I think they have Chelsea in the second game, but they will be in and around. 4th position, I've gone for Chelsea. Can you imagine? Yeah, Arsenal to win the league. Chelsea will finish in 4th position for me. I actually think Sterling is going to have a good season, but as of now, they still don't have a striker. They got rid of Lukaku, didn't have a great season, and they've not signed a striker at all. So that is a bit worrying for them. They have Everton and Tottenham in the first two games. They could easily lose both of them. They don't do well against Everton, but they always do well against Tottenham. Let's see how they do in the first two games. Again, as I said, it's not going to be a huge gap between third and sixth. It's going to be like 5-6 points there. I can see it being this season. I can see all of them getting more points than they did last season. So we are talking 70 to 80. So I think Man United got 50 something and Arsenal got 60 something. Like I've already forgotten about last season, but this season I can see Arsenal getting to the 70s, Tottenham getting to the 70s again. I think they finished on 71. They get to the 70s again. And Man United will be in and around there as well with Chelsea. This time around, I have gone for Arsenal to finish in third, an improvement from last season. Last season, I predicted fifth. So you can tell that I'm a bit confident this season. I think we have improved in our defense. And if the players manage to stay fit, that's the other thing. The players have to stay fit. If Partey, Tomiyasu, and Tierney all stay fit, then we are definitely going to get top four. Last season, we were so close, but the injuries ruined us and at the end of the campaign in the lack of experience. This time around, we've added goals in Jesus, we've added goals, assists. I made Odegaard the captain, Fabio very more assists in Cenk with a bit of quality as well. So I've gone for third. What about the top two? Who will be the champion? Who will finish in second? I've gone for Liverpool again in second. I always fancy City to win the trophy. Liverpool, Nunes, great. Jota is currently injured, but he obviously does great. Luis Diaz, Salah, obviously expecting to be part of the top scorer list as well. But I think during preseason, I think they lost to Salzburg. I know they didn't play their first team against I think it was Strasbourg. They lost 3-0 the other day. But apart from that, it's going to be the same. Trent Alexander-Arnold, Robertson, Van Dijk, all doing well for them as always. And they're still going to give City a tough campaign, and especially City having lost a couple of players, but I can see Liverpool falling short just a bit again, but they'll still win a trophy somewhere. City champions, like I always predict, that I've predicted the last 2 seasons for them to be champions, and they've not disappointed. Also, it kind of helps that they have a good relationship with Arsenal, so I always feel like when City win the league, it's a bit quiet and there's not too much to deal with, like if Man United won the league. So that is my final table. Man City to win the league, Arsenal, Liverpool, and Chelsea to secure top 4. West Ham, Man United to finish 5th and 6th. Aston Villa to have a good season in 7th. Then between 8th and 12th, Leicester, Newcastle, Wolves, and Southampton. I've also gone for Leicester. I said Leicester, yes. The next teams will be Crystal Palace, Leeds, Everton, Brighton, and Fulham, and then Brentford, Bournemouth, and Nottingham Forest to be relegated. Let me know if you agree. That definitely probably don't agree. It has to be different. And then next up, let's go to the very quickly top scorers. My top scorer, I've gone for Erling Haaland, actually. I think people are laughing at him after missing a couple of chances against Liverpool, but when he starts firing, he'll be scoring 3 or 4 goals. I've gone for Salah as well. So top 5 scorers, Haaland, Salah, Kane, Jesus, and Sterling for Chelsea. You can see Jesus banging for Arsenal and Sterling banging for Chelsea as well. And Kane, as always, Salah all have penalties and they always score goals. In terms of assists, it's going to be De Bruyne again. Son is going to be up there this time around again. Saka, just like last season. I've also gone for Mason Mount and the usual Trent Alexander-Arnold. My manager of the season, I've gone for Steven Gerrard. Yes, Steven Gerrard, Aston Villa to finish 7th, and Steven Gerrard to get manager of the season. Player of the season, I have gone for De Bruyne. Once again, is too quality. You can see him carrying them to the Premier League title again. So those are my predictions. Let me know what your predictions are. Slightly longer video, but hey, hope you enjoy that. Premier League starts in 2 days. Let's hope it doesn't disappoint. It never does. Thank you for watching. Catch up with you guys on the next one.